Revolvers never fail. Howdy y'all, welcome back. Yeah, they do. So if you're not a regular viewer of this channel, I love revolvers. I love them. I have 3 times as many wheel guns as I do semi-autos. I've shot them in competition. I love them. So please do not misunderstand me as this is like some kind of revolver hate video. It's not what I'm doing. But I do want to set the record straight because it's like nails on a chalkboard when I hear that revolvers never fail or revolvers never jam. People who say that just haven't shot enough revolver. So, all right, so 3 ways that they can fail. The first 2, in all fairness, can happen with a semi-auto also. So the first one would be a parts breakage, just some kind of internal part just failing, just breaking. And that happens, right? Stuff breaks. The second would be spring failure. So your mainspring starts getting soft and you'll start getting light primer strikes, or the trigger rebound spring will either go soft or break, which I've had that one happen also. So I've experienced both. I've had parts breakages, I've had spring failures of both the mainspring and trigger rebound springs. This stuff happens. The third one is unique to revolvers, and it's actually an ammo problem. It's an ammo failure. And it's when the primer just barely ooches itself back out of the primer pocket of the case, and it will shut your gun down. So I will do my best here to attempt to replicate this. It's a little tricky because I'm not going to go out and just shoot thousands of rounds until it happens. So I've kind of staged one here. Let's take it over the table and get a closer look. All right, so I have staged this malfunction. I would have shown it on camera, but it's I don't want to show what I had to do to this poor gun to make this happen. But here we have set up, we have replicated the failure, and you can see I got nothing. I mean, it's just stuck. And there's only one case in the gun, and it's right at top dead center. So let me, if I go with 2 fingers and really just bear down on it, I might be able to get it to pop loose. There we go. Okay. Now, let's look at how dramatic, that's it right there. So if you look at it directly from the side, you can see the primer has just, barely backed itself out just a tiny, tiny little bit. Like that. And that's all it takes. And if you've never seen this, it's because you haven't shot thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds of 38 Special or 45 Colt or any of the other, 44 Special, 44 Magnum. But it does happen. Is it common? No. But it does happen. All right, so again, it's not common. But I have had this failure several different times with wheel guns, and the demo I just did really doesn't even do the actual event justice. As like I've had to break out tools to get my gun apart to get the case. Like it's bad when it happens, and usually the culprit is going to be the flash hole. So if you're not super well versed in ammo, it's the little tiny window between the primer in the primer pocket, the little window between the primer pocket and the rest of the case where the charge is. And if that window, that flash hole is out of spec, if it's too large, it creates too much back pressure. So instead of all of the pressure going that way, sending the bullet out, you get just enough going this way to push the primer out of the pocket. And it is a thing. And I think that really the reason people don't see this more often is because they just don't shoot that many wheel gun rounds. I know personally, like I said, I have way more revolvers and I love shooting them. But the math for my round count annually is nowhere close. Just a given range session afternoon, I can breeze through 500 rounds of 9mm. Not a big deal. That same session with wheel guns, is maybe 200, 250. Like the math is just nowhere, because you're loading 15 or 17 or 20 rounds at a go into your gun and going versus 6 or maybe 5 and maybe like 7 or 8 if you have one of those. But you get the point, right? You just every time you reload, you're cramming more bullets in the gun and going. It's just different. And I think most people I know that shoot revolvers at all, they're going to the range and they're doing like 50 rounds, like a box or maybe 100, and they're done. And so just if you add that up annually, the math is nowhere close. And so yes, you are much, much less likely to have this happen because you just aren't shooting that many rounds of wheel gun, right? Does that make sense? So I get it. If you've never seen it, it's not real. So I hope I have convinced you that it is actually a thing. It can happen. Is it common? No, not really. But when it happens, your gun is done. And that is why I super just, it's like nails on a chalkboard when people say, well, I carry a revolver because they can't jam. That is factually not correct. All right, y'all. That's all I got for today. Until next time, be easy, y'all.